Have you ever experienced walking into a Starbucks and immediately feeling the difference compared to other places? What made you fall in love with the brand? Yes, there are people who are completely passionate about Starbucks. Howard Schultz didn't found Starbucks, but he was the man who turned it into a global empire. His vision, persistence, and strategy were responsible for transforming a small Seattle coffee shop into a billion-dollar brand. But this journey was far from easy. In this video, you'll discover how Schultz overcame enormous challenges, nearly went bankrupt, and still saved Starbucks when no one else believed in it. Howard Schultz grew up surrounded by hardships. In 1950s Brooklyn, his family struggled to pay the bills, and he saw firsthand the impact of an unstable job when his father, a World War II veteran, suffered a workplace accident and lost everything. No insurance, no support, no options. This was the first lesson Howard learned: the business world could be cruel to those at the bottom. But instead of accepting this fate, he decided he wanted more. From an early age, Schultz knew he needed to carve out a different path if he wanted to change his destiny. Sports became his first way out. Schultz used his football skills to earn a scholarship at Northern Michigan University, becoming the first in his family to attend college. Sports became his first way out. Schultz used his football skills to earn a scholarship at Northern Michigan University, becoming the first in his family to attend college. But university life wasn't easy. To get by, he took odd jobs, donated blood for money, and sold clothes door to door. Every day he reinforced his determination. He wanted something big, but what exactly? After graduating, Howard entered the corporate world and landed a job at Xerox, where he learned about sales and negotiation. He was good at it, but he felt like he was merely surviving rather than building something meaningful. Until one day, while working as a sales manager for a houseware company, a small detail caught his attention. A tiny coffee shop in Seattle called Starbucks was purchasing an absurd amount of coffee filters. His curiosity was instant. Why was a modest coffee shop growing so much? What was so special about their coffee? Scene 4, Trip to Seattle. Driven by instinct, Schultz traveled to Seattle to see Starbucks for himself. What he found there changed his life forever. Unlike common coffee shops, Starbucks wasn't just selling brewed coffee. They focused on high-quality beans and coffee education, something almost no one else was doing at the time. Unlike common coffee shops, Starbucks wasn't just selling brewed coffee. They focused on high-quality beans and coffee education, something almost no one else was doing at the time. When Schultz tasted the coffee for the first time, he noticed something unique. This wasn't just coffee, it was an experience. And he knew there was something huge hidden within this small business. With sharp intuition, Howard met with Starbucks' founders and immediately tried to convince them that the business had enormous potential. With sharp intuition, Howard met with Starbucks' founders and immediately tried to convince them that the business had enormous potential. But they didn't see it the same way. To the Starbucks founders, the goal was to sell coffee beans, not create a chain of coffee houses. But Schultz saw beyond that. He envisioned turning coffee drinking into a ritual, something that connected people. It was an ambitious vision, and he was willing to risk everything to make it happen. And here comes a crucial moment. When Schultz had this vision, he could have ignored it, continued his corporate career, and secured a comfortable life. And here comes a crucial moment. When Schultz had this vision, he could have ignored it, continued his corporate career, and secured a comfortable life. But he chose a different path. He quit his job, persisted until he convinced the founders to hire him, and joined Starbucks as director of marketing and operations. From that moment on, his mission was clear: to turn Starbucks into something the world had never seen before. But the journey to revolutionizing the coffee industry was just beginning, and Schultz's biggest challenge was still ahead. But the journey to revolutionizing the coffee industry was just beginning, and Schultz's biggest challenge was still ahead. Have you ever had an idea that you knew could be incredible, but no one else believed in it? Then keep watching, because in the next chapter, we'll reveal how an unexpected trip to Italy made Schultz see the secret to transforming Starbucks into a global empire. And if you're enjoying this story, make sure to like this video and comment below. Do you believe the right vision can change everything? After joining Starbucks, Howard Schultz was just beginning to explore the company's potential. After joining Starbucks, Howard Schultz was just beginning to explore the company's potential. But it was during a trip to Italy in 1983 that his vision of what Starbucks could become truly transformed. Up until that moment, Starbucks was merely a store that sold coffee beans, something no one would have imagined taking much further. However, what Schultz experienced in Italian cafes would forever change the company's direction. During his trip to Italy, Schultz noticed something fascinating. Italian cafes were not just places where people consumed coffee. Schultz was captivated by the unique experience these cafes provided their visitors. He saw that there was a business opportunity far beyond simply selling coffee. Schultz was captivated by the unique experience these cafes provided their visitors. He saw that there was a business opportunity far beyond simply selling coffee. But what exactly was this something more? Schultz returned to Seattle with a revolutionary idea. He wanted to create a third place between home and work, a welcoming space where people could connect, relax, and experience coffee in an entirely new way. He believed that by transforming Starbucks into a social gathering spot, people wouldn't just be buying coffee, they would be living an experience. However, the reaction from Starbucks founders was completely different from Schultz's vision. They were focused on selling coffee beans and believed the company's current model was already working well. Schultz's idea of creating a network of cafes where people could socialize while enjoying coffee didn't seem appealing to them. Here's an important question. How many of us have had an incredible idea, only to be met with skepticism from others or even resistance to change? Here's an important question. How many of us have had an incredible idea, only to be met with skepticism from others or even resistance to change? The rejection from Starbucks' founders could have been the end of Schultz's vision. But instead of giving up, he felt more motivated than ever to prove he was on the right path. After all, who defines the limits of success? Have you ever thought about taking the first step towards something that seems impossible? True transformation begins when we dare to challenge expectations and fight for what we believe is possible. Schultz knew that the vision of a third place could change the coffee market forever. He was certain that this was the key to turning Starbucks into something much bigger than just another coffee shop. Schultz knew that the vision of a third place could change the coffee market forever. He was certain that this was the key to turning Starbucks into something much bigger than just another coffee shop. But to do that, he had to convince the founders that he was right, or he would have to go his own way. And the most interesting part of this story is that Schultz had the courage to put himself in a challenging position. He didn't settle for his boss's limited vision. Instead, he challenged the established idea. This leads us to a powerful lesson. Sometimes true innovation comes from the courage to question and defy the norm. But would Schultz be able to convince Starbucks' founders to follow his vision? How would he make it happen? But would Schultz be able to convince Starbucks' founders to follow his vision? How would he make it happen? In the next chapter, you'll discover how he risked everything and made a bold decision that would change Starbucks' trajectory forever. Stay tuned because Schultz's story is just getting started. And don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with a friend who also dreams big. The resistance from Starbucks' founders did not shake Howard Schultz's determination. On the contrary, it pushed him to make a radical decision that would change his life and the history of coffee worldwide. Schultz was not someone who allowed himself to be limited by circumstances or the opinions of others. He believed in his business model and was willing to fight for it. That's when he made one of the boldest decisions of his life. He decided to leave Starbucks and create his own coffee chain. The name he chose for his new business, Il Giornale, which means the newspaper, symbolizing a space for gathering and conversation. This idea of creating a place where people could relax and talk about their day while enjoying high-quality coffee was his vision for the future of the coffee industry. But starting a new business is never easy, especially when you don't have the backing of a major company. Schultz faced massive obstacles. First, he struggled to secure the necessary funding. Investors were skeptical. How could anyone believe that a new coffee shop could compete with giants like Starbucks? Many of the investors he approached were completely doubtful of his idea. However, Schultz was not willing to accept no as an answer. He faced closed doors, rejections, and moments of deep discouragement. More than once he thought about giving up. Doubt, something normal in any challenging journey, knocked on his door, but perseverance always spoke louder. Schultz knew that what was at stake wasn't just the fulfillment of a personal dream, but the creation of something bigger, something that could change the way people experienced coffee. So, despite the difficulties, Schultz didn't just endure, he persisted. He found investors who believed in his vision, and finally, he was able to open the doors of Il Giornale. He found investors who believed in his vision, and finally, he was able to open the doors of Il Giornale. The beginning was tough, with a constant battle to attract customers and establish the brand. But Schultz's coffee model was starting to make sense to people. The stores began to come to life and customers realized it wasn't just about the coffee, it was about the atmosphere, the experience, the opportunity to connect with others. Schultz's cafes weren't just places to drink coffee, they were spaces for people to share moments. And as the first locations opened, Schultz became more convinced than ever that his vision was on the right track. Have you ever been in a situation where no one believed in your potential, but deep down, you knew you were on the right path? Maybe you felt rejected or undervalued, but the true key to success is exactly that, continuing to believe when others doubt you. Maybe you felt rejected or undervalued, but the true key to success is exactly that, continuing to believe when others doubt you. Schultz had the courage to follow his intuition, even when everything seemed to be against him. And even though it was tough, he didn't give up. He knew that the biggest obstacles are often the greatest tests of perseverance. What did he learn? That the true strength of an entrepreneur comes from the ability to persist, even in the face of adversity. Now imagine what would have happened if Schultz had given up. If he had accepted Starbucks' limited vision and let the founders' resistance hold him back. From his journey, we can learn that when you have a clear vision and the passion to make it a reality, it doesn't matter how many doors close or how many people doubt you. What truly matters is your determination and the strength of your belief. But Schultz didn't know that this was just one part of his journey. The question now is, how would he turn this new coffee chain into something that could compete with Starbucks itself? And what would he do when an opportunity to buy Starbucks appeared before him? And what would he do when an opportunity to buy Starbucks appeared before him? That's the next step in Schultz's journey, and you won't want to miss the twist that's coming. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with a friend who needs a dose of inspiration. In 1987, Howard Schultz was at the peak of his journey with Il Giornale, but fate was about to take a turn that would change everything. Scene 2. The opportunity appears. Scene 2. The opportunity appears. Imagine this. You have a grand vision, you've invested time and energy into creating something new, and suddenly, the opportunity to seize what you've always wanted appears right in front of you. That's exactly what happened when, that year, the founders of Starbucks decided to sell the company. That's right, the very Starbucks that Schultz had dreamed of transforming was about to be sold. And the most interesting part? Schultz knew that if he wanted to achieve his goals, this was the opportunity of a lifetime. The moment the founders of Starbucks decided to part ways with the company, Schultz didn't waste a second. He knew he couldn't let this opportunity slip away. With the support of investors, he raised the $3.8 million needed to acquire Starbucks. But imagine the pressure. He wasn't just buying any coffee shop, he was acquiring the potential to revolutionize the coffee industry. Now, he wasn't just dreaming, he was in control of Starbucks, and the responsibility to turn his vision into reality was in his hands. And like any great entrepreneur, he wasn't intimidated by the challenges. On the contrary, he saw a golden opportunity to take Starbucks to a new level. And the rest, as they say, is history. With the acquisition of Starbucks, Schultz began implementing his vision to transform the company into a global coffeehouse chain. He wanted to create a third place where people could meet, relax, and socialize while enjoying high-quality coffee. Starbucks would no longer be just a store selling coffee beans, it would become a space for people to connect in an increasingly individualistic world. But this wouldn't be an easy journey. Schultz knew that turning Starbucks into a global network was a monumental challenge. He needed more than just a brilliant idea. He needed to convince the world that Starbucks had something unique to offer. And here's a crucial point. Have you ever thought about how a single step can change the entire course of your life? Schultz was taking the most important step of his career, and he knew that true transformation would only happen if he held firm to his vision, even in the face of difficulties. Schultz was taking the most important step of his career, and he knew that true transformation would only happen if he held firm to his vision, even in the face of difficulties. No matter how tough the journey was, he believed in the potential of his idea and knew that his mission was bigger than any obstacle. The acquisition of Starbucks was the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter defined by courage, vision, and relentless execution. But what if Schultz had hesitated? What if he had let uncertainty or the fear of failure shake him? From this story we can learn that in decisive moments we must act with confidence and purpose. But the big question here is, how did Schultz manage to turn Starbucks from a simple coffee company into a global giant? How did he make people around the world buy not just coffee but a lifestyle experience? How did he make people around the world buy not just coffee but a lifestyle experience? Get ready, because the next step in Schultz's journey involves massive challenges, calculated risks, and a level of boldness that few would dare to have. And what would Schultz do to ensure that Starbucks wasn't just a passing trend? Well, that's something we're about to explore. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had the chance to make a life-changing decision? What motivated you to act, or perhaps what held you back? Comment below, share your experience, and of course leave a like if you're feeling inspired by this story. Let's embark on this journey together. Under Howard Schultz's leadership, Starbucks underwent a remarkable transformation and aggressive expansion that turned it into a globally recognized name. In just a few years, Starbucks not only crossed borders, but redefined how people viewed the simple act of drinking coffee. Schultz knew that achieving global success wasn't just about opening new stores, it was about creating a unique experience that made people feel like they were part of something bigger. And that's exactly what he did. With a clear vision of how Starbucks should position itself, he invested heavily in three fundamental pillars: store design, customer experience, and employee training. The design of the stores was one of the first elements Schultz focused on to attract customers and create a unique environment. He understood that a coffee shop couldn't just be functional, it had to be inviting and comfortable. Every detail, from the chairs to the lighting, was carefully designed to create a warm and relaxing atmosphere. The idea was simple: make people want to spend more time in the stores, as if they were in an extension of their own home. But Schultz also knew that for Starbucks to achieve lasting success, it couldn't just be about coffee, it had to be about the experience that came with it. This focus on customer experience became Starbucks' defining advantage. Schultz implemented rigorous training for employees, encouraging them to treat each customer in a personalized and welcoming way. He wanted baristas to be more than just workers. He wanted them to be passionate ambassadors of coffee and the brand. This helped create an emotional connection with customers, making every visit to Starbucks more than just a commercial transaction. It became a unique and memorable experience. And what happened? The public didn't just respond positively, they fell in love with the brand. The concept of a third place, a space where people could meet and socialize while enjoying high-quality coffee, was an instant success. Starbucks was no longer just a coffee shop, it was a cultural phenomenon. With this strong foundation, Starbucks began expanding aggressively, opening new stores on every corner in the United States, and it didn't stop there. Schultz was determined to take Starbucks to the world. In 1996, Starbucks made its first international move by opening a store in Tokyo, Japan. It was a historic milestone, the beginning of Starbucks' transformation into a global brand. But expansion wasn't easy. Every new market brought its own challenges, from adapting to local tastes to overcoming resistance to the idea of an American coffee shop in countries with deep-rooted coffee traditions. However, Schultz believed Starbucks had something unique to offer, and that his vision could transcend borders. The brand grew exponentially, with thousands of stores in more than 70 countries worldwide. But, as you might expect, success also brought challenges. With rapid growth, Starbucks faced management issues, quality control concerns, and of course, the pressure of maintaining the original coffeehouse experience, one of the core pillars of its popularity. Many questioned, how could Starbucks keep its essence without losing quality and its close relationship with customers? Schultz had to navigate these challenges while keeping the company on its expansion path. How did he do it? And how did Starbucks adapt to remain relevant as the market became increasingly competitive? The answer to these questions is coming soon, but first, I want to hear from you. Have you ever walked into a Starbucks and felt the difference compared to other coffee shops? What made you fall in love with the brand, if that ever happened? Leave a like if you've ever experienced the feeling of a third place, and share this video with someone who also loves coffee. In the comments, let's talk about your experiences with Starbucks, or any other brand that has transformed your consumer experience. As impressive as Starbucks' growth had been, by the early 2000s, the company began facing a series of internal problems that almost led to its collapse. The rapid and aggressive expansion had been a powerful strategy for achieving global presence, but this uncontrolled growth also had severe consequences. With Starbucks opening stores everywhere, the brand's identity started to dilute. The stores became impersonal, and the experiences offered to customers began losing the unique touch that had made them so special. The warm, intimate atmosphere that Schultz had created was fading as stores multiplied. On top of that, coffee, once the heart of the brand, started to decline in quality. Baristas were overworked, and the practices that had ensured excellence in service and coffee preparation began to be overlooked. Customers, who once loved Starbucks for its consistency and quality, started complaining. Many questioned whether the third place still existed. The stores were full, but the essence of the brand was slipping away. What had once been a memorable experience was turning into just another commercial transaction. This was a critical moment in Starbucks history. The pressure was mounting, and the company was on the verge of losing its relevance in the market. And as if that wasn't enough, the global financial crisis of 2008 hit Starbucks hard. The recession shook the global economy, and companies like Starbucks were deeply affected. Coffee consumption dropped, sales plummeted, and stores started closing. It was a true perfect storm. A brand that had seemed unstoppable just years before was now on the brink of collapse. Financial analysts predicted the company's downfall, and many began questioning whether Starbucks still had what it took to survive. Howard Schultz, who had stepped down as CEO in 2000, saw his creation, Starbucks, crumbling. He couldn't just stand by and watch as his company fell apart. He knew he had built something unique and valuable, something worth saving. The decision he made next was crucial for the company's future. He returned to Starbucks and resumed his role as CEO. Schultz knew that to save the company, he had to return to the roots of what had made Starbucks great. A renewed focus on quality, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere, and restoring the customer experience had to be the priority. He knew Starbucks needed a reinvention, and he was ready to fight for it. This crisis at Starbucks serves as a great reminder that even the most successful companies can lose their way when uncontrolled growth and lack of attention to detail take over. Schultz had to act fast, turn the tide, and restore the company's culture. He understood that to save Starbucks, he needed to re-establish what it had always stood for. Not just a place to grab coffee, but a space where people could have a unique, welcoming, and memorable experience. Now, what can we learn from this crisis? Often in our own projects and businesses, it's easy to get lost in rapid growth and drift away from what truly matters. The real key to success isn't just expanding. It's maintaining our identity, core values, and focus on what makes our product or service truly unique. What Schultz did was restore Starbucks' essence, proving that even in the darkest moments, there is always a chance to turn things around. But how would he do it? How would he regain customers' trust and rebuild the brand's reputation? Stay tuned, Schultz's journey is far from over. Have you ever faced a moment when your idea or project was on the brink of collapse? Share this with someone going through challenges and let us know in the comments. How did you overcome a crisis in your life? Let's exchange stories of resilience and perseverance. Your experience might inspire and help others facing the same struggle. When Howard Schultz returned to lead Starbucks in 2008, the challenge was monumental. The company was in free fall, and he knew he couldn't afford to waste time. He had to act quickly to restore Starbucks' essence and win back customers who were beginning to drift away. Schultz's first move was drastic. He closed a significant number of unprofitable stores. Many saw this as a sign of failure, but Schultz understood that it was essential to eliminate locations that no longer aligned with the company's vision. This step was necessary so he could focus on what truly mattered: customer experience, and service quality. By closing these stores, Schultz wasn't just cutting costs, he was clearing the path for a fresh start. And that fresh start would be centered around what had set Starbucks apart from the beginning, the customer experience. To ensure that service quality was fully restored, Schultz completely overhauled barista training. The focus wasn't just on making great coffee, it was about creating an engaging and welcoming experience for every customer. The goal was clear: to turn each visit to Starbucks into a unique and memorable moment, making every customer feel like a valued guest. But Schultz knew that to keep Starbucks relevant in the 21st century, he needed more than just high-quality coffee and exceptional service. He needed innovation. That's when Starbucks introduced groundbreaking technological initiatives, the digital loyalty program, and the Starbucks mobile app. These features were revolutionary at the time, and helped Starbucks build a deeper, more personalized connection with its customers. The digital loyalty program allowed customers to easily earn points and rewards, strengthening their attachment to the brand. Meanwhile, the Starbucks app transformed how people interacted with the company, enabling them to place orders in advance and pay directly from their phones. This technological innovation was crucial in modernizing Starbucks and enhancing the customer experience. What Schultz accomplished was transforming Starbucks from a traditional coffee shop into a brand fully integrated with modern lifestyles where convenience and personalization were key. But the innovation didn't stop there. Starbucks also expanded its offerings, introducing new products and even healthy food options, responding to shifting consumer habits and customer needs. This helped the company stay competitive and attract an increasingly diverse audience. However, what truly made the difference was the return to the brand's core identity. Schultz revived the concept of the third place, a space where people could connect, relax, and enjoy coffee. But now, with the added convenience and innovation that the modern world demanded, Starbucks was no longer just a coffee chain. It had become an essential gathering place in people's daily lives, where technology and experience seamlessly merged. This return to its roots, combined with strategic reinvention, not only saved Starbucks from the crisis it faced, but also positioned it for a new era of growth and success. Schultz managed to blend the best of the past with the most innovative aspects of the present. Starbucks not only regained its popularity, but became even more relevant in the global market. He proved that when you have the courage to return to your origins while embracing innovation, success is almost inevitable. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced a moment when you had to go back to basics to overcome a challenge? How has innovation played a role in your journey? Leave a like if you're feeling inspired by Starbucks reinvention. And don't forget to share this video with someone looking for fresh ideas to revamp their own projects. In the comments, tell us how you balance tradition and innovation in your life and work. With Howard Schultz's relentless leadership, Starbucks not only became one of the largest coffeehouse chains in the world, but also established itself as one of the most influential and respected brands in the business world. Today, Starbucks operates in over 80 countries with thousands of stores across the globe, generating billions of dollars in revenue each year. What started as a small coffee shop in Seattle, USA, transformed into a global benchmark, and the impact the company has had on the market and popular culture is undeniable. However, Starbucks' success cannot be attributed solely to its exponential growth, or the fact that it became a worldwide icon. The true greatness of Starbucks lies in how Howard Schultz turned the company into a platform for making a positive impact on society. Schultz always had a clear vision that Starbucks should be more than just a coffee company. He wanted Starbucks to be a force for good, a brand that could positively influence not only its customers, but also its employees and communities around the world. This commitment to social impact was evident from the early years of his leadership, when he implemented policies focused on employee well-being, including generous benefits and a corporate culture that valued and respected people. Schultz firmly believed that a successful business should not only generate profit, but also create an environment where people felt valued and had opportunities for growth. Because of this, Starbucks has always been seen as a company that offers remarkable benefits to its employees. At a time when many companies didn't even provide basic healthcare plans for workers, Schultz made it a priority to offer all full-time Starbucks employees access to benefits such as healthcare, education, and even profit-sharing programs. He also implemented initiatives that allowed employees to engage in social and community projects, ensuring that Starbucks was not just a coffee brand but a company that positively impacted millions of lives. Schultz's vision was instrumental in making Starbucks an example for other businesses worldwide. While many corporations focus solely on maximizing profits and increasing shareholder value, Starbucks proved that it was possible to build a business model that also benefited employees, communities, and consumers. Schultz's commitment to his team fostered loyalty and engagement, which in turn resulted in an unparalleled customer experience. The results spoke for themselves. Starbucks became a beloved and respected brand, both among consumers and employees. But Schultz's vision extended beyond his internal team. He always saw Starbucks as a platform to support social and environmental causes, and over the years, the company engaged in numerous sustainability and corporate responsibility initiatives. One of the most notable examples was Starbucks' commitment to sourcing ethically produced coffee beans. The company ensured that its beans were cultivated under ethical conditions, respecting the rights of farmers and promoting sustainable agricultural practices. Additionally, Schultz championed projects aimed at improving the lives of communities where Starbucks operated, forging partnerships with NGOs and other social initiatives. Starbucks didn't just become a coffee giant, it also emerged as one of the most admired brands for its social responsibility and commitment to positive impact. This business model not only helped build a strong reputation and a loyal customer base, but also proved to be a smart strategy. By aligning profit with purpose, Starbucks set a crucial precedent for other companies, showing that it is possible, and even necessary, for brands to uphold values that go beyond the mere pursuit of profit. Under Schultz's leadership, Starbucks also played a key role in democratizing coffee culture. By making high-quality coffee accessible on a large scale, Schultz helped shape a global coffee drinking culture, elevating the overall consumer experience worldwide. Before Starbucks, coffee was often viewed as an ordinary beverage with little emphasis on quality or experience. Schultz transformed coffee into an essential part of people's daily lives, creating an experience that made customers feel special, connected, and part of something bigger. What Schultz accomplished went far beyond turning Starbucks into a successful brand. He made Starbucks a true global reference, an example of how businesses can be a force for good. The company, which started small, expanded into a global icon, and more importantly, a brand that always prioritized the social and environmental impact of its actions. Today, Starbucks is seen not just as a coffee giant but as a model for companies worldwide striving to grow in a sustainable and responsible manner. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever thought about how businesses can positively impact society and the people around them? What do you think of Starbucks' approach, which blends success with social responsibility? Leave a like if you also believe in the power of businesses to drive positive change, and don't forget to share this video with someone who would be inspired by Starbucks' story. In 2018, after years of growth and success with Starbucks, Howard Schultz made a surprising decision. He left the company for the second time. But this was not a quiet withdrawal or a simple retirement. Schultz was beginning to consider a new challenge. After transforming Starbucks into one of the most recognized and successful brands in the world, he felt he could use his experience and leadership to make an even greater impact, but now in a completely different arena, politics. During this transition, Schultz began exploring the possibility of running for president of the United States as an independent candidate. For many, his entry into politics seemed like a natural progression. He had already demonstrated exceptional leadership skills by turning Starbucks from a small coffee shop into a global powerhouse. But politics was an entirely new territory, and he knew the rules were very different. The American political system, deeply rooted in a two-party structure, was nothing like the business world. Instead of running a company with clear goals and a well-defined mission, he would have to navigate a complex web of interests, alliances, and conflicting opinions. The idea of Schultz running for president sparked major debate across the country. Some saw his entry as a breath of fresh air in a political landscape saturated with outdated practices and empty promises. Schultz, with his history of business success and his desire to bring change, seemed like a candidate capable of breaking traditional barriers and offering a new perspective. He positioned himself as someone above political divisions, focused on solving practical problems and uniting people rather than following the agenda of a specific political party. This independent approach resonated with many voters disillusioned with traditional parties. On the other hand, there was significant resistance, especially from those who believed that a billionaire with no significant political experience was not the best person to lead the country. Critics pointed to his lack of a solid political background as a major obstacle, and many viewed him as an outsider without a deep understanding of the complexities and nuances of public policy. His detractors argued that his experience as a businessman was not enough to handle the social, economic, and diplomatic challenges a president faces daily. Despite the criticism, Schultz's potential candidacy raised an important question: did he represent a new approach to politics? His business success story, and his belief in using leadership for the greater good, gave him a powerful platform to connect with voters who longed for a change in the traditional political system. But running as an independent without the support of a major party was far from an easy task. To build a solid support base and an effective campaign, Schultz would not only need a compelling platform but also resources, allies, and a strategic plan to overcome the challenges of the bipartisan system. Schultz's entry into politics made him a symbol of a growing trend of business leaders venturing into public office. He joined a rising list of executives and entrepreneurs who believed their leadership skills, vision, and ability to innovate could bring something new to the political landscape. But the road was not easy for Schultz. His attempt at candidacy was marked by numerous challenges and controversies, including doubts about his ability to unite a broad base of support and concerns over his disconnect from the deep-rooted issues many Americans faced. Moreover, the resistance Schultz encountered was not limited to criticism from traditional politicians. It also extended to a significant portion of the public who believed that politics should not be dominated by billionaires and corporate figures. Many saw people like Schultz as representatives of an elite business class disconnected from the daily struggles of ordinary citizens. Nevertheless, Schultz remained firm in his journey, insisting that the country needed a new type of leader. Someone driven by the well-being of all, rather than by partisan or financial interests. Schultz's decision to leave Starbucks and explore politics was also a reflection of his personal journey, and his belief that his impact on the world was not limited to the corporate sphere. He had already achieved great success in business, but now he wanted to leave an even deeper mark, serving as a positive force in society and government. Entering politics was not merely about seeking power or prestige, it was an attempt to change the way the country was being run, and to use his business mindset to transform politics into something more efficient and fair. Today, although Schultz ultimately did not move forward with his candidacy, his story remains a powerful example of courageous and visionary leadership. He demonstrated that even after reaching extraordinary levels of success, it is possible to seek new horizons and strive to make an even greater impact. His attempt to enter politics, though it did not yield electoral results, was a strong reminder that the spirit of innovation and the pursuit of creative solutions should not be confined to a single sector of society. Schultz, with his willingness to try something new, continues to inspire those who believe that leadership should be used to improve the world in different and innovative ways. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about business leaders venturing into politics? Do you believe Schultz's business experience would have been an asset or a liability in politics? Leave a like if you also believe that innovative leaders can make a difference, and share this video with someone who would be interested in understanding Schultz's journey and his attempt to reshape politics. In the comments, share your thoughts on the role of entrepreneurs in politics and how we can reimagine leadership for the future. Howard Schultz's legacy goes far beyond Starbucks' success. His journey is clear proof that vision, resilience, and courage can transform businesses, reverse challenging scenarios, and impact millions of lives worldwide. What began as a simple dream of a poor boy from Brooklyn grew into one of the most inspiring stories in modern business history. Schultz not only built a coffee chain that would forever change the way the world consumes coffee, but also revolutionized the concept of how a company can operate responsibly, with a focus on social impact and employee well-being. From his humble beginnings, Howard Schultz always had the desire to achieve something greater. Raised in a working-class family, he experienced firsthand the harsh realities of Brooklyn's streets. He witnessed his family's struggles, especially his father's, who worked his entire life without financial stability and faced constant economic hardship. This environment shaped Schultz's character and worldview. He always knew he had to fight to change his reality, and later he would do so with a passion and determination that reflected in every step of his career. When he joined Starbucks, no one could have predicted the impact he would have. At the time, the company was just a small shop specializing in selling coffee beans. The idea of Starbucks as a global coffeehouse chain didn't exist yet, and few could have imagined that Schultz would turn this small business into a worldwide icon. However, his vision, inspired by his travels to Italy and his quest to create a third place for people, became the foundation of what Starbucks would become, a place that serves not just coffee, but also experiences and social connections. Schultz was a pioneer in realizing that deep down people weren't just buying coffee, they were buying an experience, a place to feel welcome, valued, and connected. Starbucks' success was so remarkable that its story became a global example of entrepreneurship. Schultz proved that it wasn't necessary to follow traditional business conventions to achieve greatness. He embraced the idea of offering employee benefits and fostering a strong corporate culture where workers felt like part of something bigger. While many companies focus solely on profits, Schultz invested in something deeper. He believed that a company's true wealth came from the satisfaction and well-being of its employees, something that directly impacted service quality and customer experience. And indeed, this approach built a level of brand loyalty that became one of Starbucks' greatest assets. But Schultz's impact was not limited to changes in business models. He went further, bringing a new perspective on how companies can play a role in society. Under his leadership, Starbucks became a model of corporate responsibility. He didn't just focus on the company's financial success, but also on its impact on communities and the environment. Schultz always believed that businesses had an obligation to give back to society, which is why Starbucks engaged in numerous social and environmental initiatives. The company's commitment to ethical coffee sourcing, employee benefits, and sustainability efforts are just a few examples of how Schultz implemented his vision of a more humane and sustainable form of capitalism. Schultz's legacy, however, is not just about his business achievements. He is also an example of resilience and perseverance. His journey was filled with constant challenges, from the financial struggles of his childhood to the obstacles he faced early in his career. Even after being rejected by Starbucks founders, Schultz never gave up on his vision. He persisted, founded his own coffee chain, and eventually managed to acquire Starbucks, transforming it into the giant we know today. His return to Starbucks after the company's financial collapse in the early 2000s is another example of how his determination was crucial in saving the brand from potential failure. By reassuming the role of CEO, Schultz not only rescued the company but also reinvented Starbucks, making it more modern, innovative, and connected to consumers. Schultz's story is a true inspiration for entrepreneurs and leaders in any field. He proved that business success doesn't come just from following traditional formulas or having a good idea. The real key to success lies in having a clear vision, fighting for it, adapting to change, and staying true to one's values. Schultz not only changed the coffee industry but also redefined the role of companies in society, showing that financial success can be combined with a genuine commitment to social well-being. And his legacy lives on, not just in Starbucks stores worldwide, but also in the way he inspired new entrepreneurs and leaders to find a balance between profit and social impact. Schultz made it clear that it is possible to achieve great things, not just by accumulating wealth, but by creating a company that makes a positive and lasting impact on the world. Even after stepping away from Starbucks, his influence in the business world remains strong. Schultz's story teaches us that no matter where we are born or the obstacles we face in life, with vision, courage, and resilience, we can achieve our greatest dreams. His legacy extends far beyond coffee shops, and his story will continue to inspire generations of entrepreneurs and leaders worldwide to think big, challenge the status quo, and turn their visions into reality. Now I want to hear from you. Which part of Schultz's journey inspires you the most? Do you believe companies should take a more active role in society beyond just making a profit? If you think Schultz's legacy can serve as an example for the future of business, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and tell us in the comments what you think about Howard Schultz's impact. Howard Schultz's story proves that success isn't just about big ideas. It's about having the courage to challenge established rules, create new paths where no one else sees opportunities, learn from failures, and reinvent yourself when the situation demands it. If you've made it this far and found inspiration in this story of resilience and innovation, I have a challenge for you. Subscribe to our channel now and turn on the notification bell. We bring stories like this about leaders who change the business world every week. Be part of our community of visionaries. By subscribing, you'll gain access to the most inspiring, direct, and exclusive content to fuel your journey of learning and success. Comment below which part of Howard Schultz's story impressed you the most, and share this with your friends. After all, who doesn't love getting inspired and learning from the greatest minds in business? Don't miss out. Subscribe now.